Hi, good day. I'm pleased to share with you my experience and knowledge about the teaching profession. My name is Robert Paakwesi Adikah. I'm a licensed science teacher from Ghana. I'm currently teaching at Paakwesi Senior High Technical School. I hold a Bachelor of Education in Science from the University of Cape Coast. I have been teaching biology, physics, integrated science for the past 8 years. I am a positive person who has the ability to plan and organize effectively on any task given me. I'm also a team player because I believe in teamwork. I'm also a good communicator. My interests are teaching of science, reading of science magazines, and also reading about technological development, reading about spiritual books, and listening to sermons from some anointed men of God. My hobbies are playing with kids, listening to music, and watching movies at my leisure time. During my teaching, I make use of differentiated learning strategy and group learning strategy. With the differentiated learning strategy, since all my learners are not equal when it comes to assimilation, I try to make it easier for my learners to understand the topic taught because some of my learners are fast learners while others are also slow learners. For the second method, which is the group learning strategy, I segment the class into mixed ability group and mixed gender groups. The topic under study is also segmented for the learners in their various groups to carry out their research activities under the topic of study. They share their findings and present it to the larger class. I then give feedback to their presentation and make rooms for questions and answers. My learners are always actively involved in the lesson because this is seen as learner-centered approach in regard. As young and energetic as I am, I actively participate in extracurricular activities in my school, including cultural displays, sporting activities such as playing of volleyballs and soccer. Despite lacking a professional certificate in volleyball, I do coach my school's volleyball team and present them during their inter-school games. Aside these activities, I am part of the team that trained and led my school National Science and Maths Quiz competition. It's a nationwide competition organized for science students in senior high school in my dear country, Ghana. I employ various strategies, including assigning challenging but interesting tasks related to the topic under study to brilliant and smart students who might cover the lesson already. This is to prevent them from being noisy or distracting the class. I also go around to inspect each student and ask questions to check if my learners are paying attention or are absent-minded. This keeps my learners on alert since questions are randomly asked. Finally, I use hand signals, eye contact, and other gestures to signal message to noisy students. Once they are quiet, I use thumb up gesture to acknowledge their cooperation. My interest and motivation for becoming a science teacher is born out of my curiosity and interest in science-related subjects. As a young student then, I used to ask mind-blowing questions on some related science subjects. This passion made me train to become a professional teacher as I am today. I want to impart my knowledge to young ones while I also learn from other science educators to improve upon my teaching skills. For the past 8 years, I have been teaching biology, physics, and integrated science to students at Paakwesi Senior High Technical School. Their age ranges from 14 to 18 years in the grade 10 to 12. Also, I've taught integrated science and computing to students at Hojo Alabanyo MA Junior High School. Their age also ranges from 12 to 14 years in the grade 7 to 9. Furthermore, I've taught biology and integrated science to students at KJB Asato Senior High, and their age ranges from 14 to 18 years in the grade level 10 to 12. As part of my preparation to teach my learners, I do read around the topic very well, research on the topic to find out any updated information regarding the topic. I also find answers to questions anticipated that students may ask during the lesson delivery. By so doing, I am very equipped with the relevant information before I even step into the classroom. In the preparation of the lesson plan, I design my scheme of work ahead of time because it outlines the weekly forecast for which every topic should be taught. During my lesson planner preparation, I take into consideration and also make sure that my sub-strand, learning outcomes and learning indicators align with the essential questions. I then select the appropriate teaching methodology or strategies and activities that match with the topic, taking also into consideration my teaching and learning resources that will aid the teaching of the topic. At the end of the lesson, I then reflect on the lesson to see whether the topic is successfully taught or not. Upon entering into my class, you will see my learners in their mixed ability groups and mixed gender groups. They will be actively engaged in their practical and hands-on activities under my supervision. In my class, I make sure each student gets involved in whatever goes on in the classroom. I make sure I group my fast learners with the slow learners. I constantly use formative and summative assessment to evaluate my students' progress on the topic taught. I conduct formative assessment in the course of the lesson through random questions and answers, supervised class exercise, and class tests to test my student understanding of the topic. For the formative assessment, students are tested with examining questions at the end of the semester, which comprises of theory and test of practical questions to monitor my student progress. As a 21st century teacher, I do integrate technology into my teaching by using tablets, laptops, projectors, and relevant online resources such as videos from YouTube, pictures to help my learners understand the topic better. Unfortunately, I do not have smartboard in my classroom. However, I am open to its use when the opportunity comes. When I was newly posted to my current school, the science student protested that science was a difficult subject due to insufficient resources in the school. I took my time to explain the importance of science in their daily lives. I then focused my teaching towards their life experiences. Now, my students have shown deep interest in the subject and the enrollment has appreciated greatly by 50%. This is the power of good advice. I am a flexible person throughout my years of teaching. I've come to know that no one knows it all. Hence, I do invite other colleagues who are well versed in the topic area to explain some concepts I find difficult to explain to my learners. I look forward to hearing from you positively soon. Thank you for watching.